Macro and close-up photography is a very interesting photographic genre, and it gives you endless possibilities to photograph. So if you wondered how to do macro and close-up photography and what gear you might need, this video is for you. Hi there, I'm Peter Forsgaard, an Olympus visionary and a professional photographer from Helsinki, Finland. My channel is all about you getting to be a better photographer. So if you're new here, please consider subscribing to my channel and hit the bell so you get notified when there is a new video online. I post 2 videos a week. This video is quite long, and I've made some timestamps to different parts of this video, so feel free to click those links to different parts of this video and go to the part that is the most interesting for you. This is my first part of my 2 videos about macro photography that's coming up. This one is mostly about the gear and the concept and what macro and close-up photography actually is, and the second one is all about ideas, what you can do at home. Let's look what Wikipedia has to say about macro. A macro photograph is one which the size of the subject on the negative or image sensor is life-size or greater. So if the subject is as big or bigger on your sensor, then it's called macro photography. Everything else that has been photographed close are called close-ups. Alright, let's start. The first thing is to look at your existing gear that you already have. Like I have here EM10 Mark II with the kit lens, 14 to 42mm electronic zoom lens, and its closest focusing distance is 20 centimeters, which is quite close. And I have, for this video, just a purpose to show you the different gear that I use, how close I can get. And this one is 2 inches tall and it's about 5 centimeters. As you can see, I can fit the whole viewfinder with that. This is not exactly a macro, pretty close actually, because the subject is a bit bigger. So this is actually quite close to a macro shot. But let's take the image first. Okay, and we are that close. So this is almost a macro image, not quite. And another good and not that expensive lens is the 12 to 50mm electronic zoom lens, and that can do some really good macro photography also. Unfortunately, I don't have the lens right now, and actually I just realized when I was researching the lenses for this video that the 12 to 50mm lens is not in Olympus lineup anymore. But if you can get it used, or maybe still they have some stock with the new ones in some dealers, that's another very good option for macro photography. But as I said, go through your existing lenses and see what you can do with those. The next step is to use the lens the wrong way. Reverse the lens. You can hold it in your hand if you want, but I have this very cheap reverse ring so that I can attach my lens the wrong way to the camera body. And I have the EM5 Mark II on this one. I can get extremely close. So now you already have 2 options without getting anything. Or maybe a reverse ring, which cost me like $3 from eBay. But let's take the image and see how it comes out. And yeah, it looks pretty good. But as you see, very cheap and very good. And this is real macro because the face fills the whole sensor. So this is a genuine macro photograph. Very good option also. Then the third option, close-up lenses. And this is a very inexpensive way of starting close-up photography if your lenses do not focus that close. Close-up lenses are magnifying lenses that you screw on your lens. For example, the Olympus M.Zuiko Digital ED close-up lens, which fits great to the kit lens. It's actually made for the kit lens. And here you can see how much closer you can get with that compare without the lens. Then I have these Chinese close-up lenses, a set of them, from 1 to 10, and that means the strength, how much they magnify and how much closer you can get to make the photograph. And let's see how those work. As you see from these images, the quality of the close-up lenses is not very good, but it's actually quite fun looking images. The effect is quite nice. Then there is a microscopic lens from Raynox, and I have the M250, which have a 2.5 magnification. And this is supposed to be really good quality lens. Raynox also have a 8x magnification close-up lens, and that's called the MSM505, and that is huge, and that's not really cheap lens. I think it's almost $200/euro, so it's not a cheap one. But the one that I got, it was under $100, so it's not that bad. The mechanism how you attach the Raynox to your lens is a bit different. It can fit from 52mm to 67mm filter thread lenses. So it's very versatile, and good thing about that is that if you invest on this one, you can use the same close-up lens on different lenses. And of course, when you have some extra glass in front of your lens, the image quality might be an issue. Then there is the fourth option, the extension tubes. And these are the ones that I recommend if you want to start making macro photography. Extension tubes are, well, they are empty tubes that will make your lens to be a bit further away from the body. So the further away the lens is, the closer it focuses. And I have Koka brand named extension tubes, and the sizes are 10mm, 16mm and 21. So I can use only one or two or three. So I have different options and different not focal lengths, but different focusing distances I can get with different lenses. And these work with any lens, so you only need one, just to check out that it's for your camera brand. And we're talking about micro four thirds mainly in this channel, so be sure that you have the micro four thirds versions of those extension tubes. And also what's good about the extension tubes is that they don't affect the image quality at all. So you will get the full image quality that your lens can deliver. No lenses in front of your lens to make the image quality worse. With the extension tubes, you just get the same good image quality that you get with your lenses without the extension tubes. And on my Koka extension tubes, the electricity goes through the extension tube, so even the kit lens with electronic zoom can be used. And you can use autofocus, you can use adjust the aperture. But there is a slight problem with the extension tubes. They are not perfect solution, even though, as I said, I recommend them. You need to have a bit longer lens than 42mm, as we can see from this example here with the kit lens and the 10mm extension tube. The focusing distance is really close, so you will be in trouble when it comes to lighting your subject. And as you can see from this, with the 75mm and the 25mm extension tube, you can be a lot further away from your subject. This is very good if you have to photograph insects or other small creatures, or you need to light the thing that you're photographing, which is in most cases you need to have light to your subject. So having a longer lens and extension tubes works a lot better than the kit lens. But of course the kit lens can be used, but as you saw what the problem was. And now let's look at the images from that 75mm f1.8, how they came out. And then the fifth option, macro lenses. And of course, this is the best option and best solution if you are into macro photography for real. If you really do it a lot, then this is something that you might want to invest. Olympus has two macro lenses on the M.Zuiko lineup, 30mm f3.5, and then there is the 60mm f2.8. And I'm glad that they have these two options, because the 30mm is a budget option and a very good way to start macro photography. And then if you get to be more serious, then the 60mm f2.8 is a must, because having a bit more reach is a good thing, because you can have the camera a bit further away from your subject and still get the same magnification as a shorter lens. But the difference is that you have a distance from the subject, then you can put some light between there. And of course, if you have some creatures or insects or whatever you photograph as a macro photography, you will not disturb whatever the creature is that much, because you have the camera further away. That's why I recommend the 60mm. But of course, if you want to get a cheaper one, the 30mm is totally fine. But as you see here, you already ran into some trouble with the 30mm lens. It is manageable. You can fit some light, as you can see from the image. But let's take the image with the 30mm lens. Okay, here we have. You can get pretty close, so we can call this a real macro. And now I have the 60mm f2.8 macro lens. And one thing that I didn't say about this, another advantage of the 60mm lens is that it is weather sealed dust-proof and splash-proof. So it's in that sense also a lot better than the 30mm. Let's take the image with the 60mm lens. But remember, you can use close-up lenses and extension tubes also with your macro lens. And if you're more interested into these macro lenses, I do have videos of each of these lenses in my channel. You can watch them from there. And then the sixth one. This is very special. These are called Bellows. And these works exactly the same way as extension tubes. The same idea. You have the lens further away from your subject, from your body. And these bellows are from film era. These are the OM system bellows. And that's why I have an adapter here. And then I also have a Olympus M series 50mm lens. So it's a bit longer lens, and that's why I can have the subject a bit further away, so I can fit some light between the lens and the subject. And as you can see from this is extreme close-up. And there are bellows for micro four thirds system. Novoflex makes some, but those are really expensive. So this is the most expensive. Of course, a macro lens can be also expensive, but this is by far, I think, the most radical and most, well, let's say the best way. If you're really into macro photography, you might think getting a set of bellows. Okay, let's take an image. But one thing first, when the lens is this far from the body, you will lose some light. So for macro, you will need some extra light. But let's take the image. And as you can see, you can get really close. And this is the way the image came out. And as you can see, the image is a bit soft. Maybe it's the lens, I don't know. And the length of a bellow can be adjusted. So the longer the bellow, the closer is the focusing distance. This is a solution. If you get a brand new Novoflex, then this might be a solution. I'm not recommending this old system, but this is something that is nice to have. And then we have the TG series cameras from Olympus. I personally have the TG4, but the TG-6 is the newest one. And with bellows you could get some extreme close-ups. But talking about extreme close-ups, if you have the macro light for your TG4, 5 or 6, you can get really close, because the closest focusing distance is 1 centimeter. Good thing about it is that you can still get some light. You can literally stick the camera to the surface and make a macro. And here are some examples that I took for my TG-6 video. Quite remarkable solution for macro too, if that's something that you otherwise need, a really durable and tough camera that doesn't break. You can drop it, you can walk over it. Then the TG series cameras are something to consider for macro also. Well, actually what Olympus is calling is microscopic, and that's what it is. Let's talk about light next. Light is the most important thing in photography. The word photography comes from the Greek word drawing with light. So without light, there is no photographs. And that's why always concentrate on lighting, no matter what you photograph. A macro is a little special thing. As we saw in some of my examples, the lighting was almost impossible because the subject was too close to the lens. There's no room for light between the lens and the subject. And that's why it's really important to have a bit longer lens when you're doing macro, so you can use natural light. If you're outdoors, natural light is fine. But if you need some artificial light added up, you can use almost any light source that you have. Because in digital photography, you can always correct the wrong white balance if you are shooting raw. But then if you want to be more serious with your macro, then Olympus has to offer is the STF8 macro twin light. And I have actually made a video about it, and you can watch it from here. And then of course other options are different kinds of speed lights. Olympus has several, and I personally like to use the radio triggered TTL lights because that's the most convenient, the fastest way. And remember always to have some kind of diffusion in front of your flash, or bounce it from some white or light colored wall or whatever you have to bounce it from. But what I have is this interesting foldable light, and here it is, a foldable diffuser. It has a hole in here, and then what you only do is to put your flash in there like this, and that's it, you're good to go. This is something better than having nothing, and the straight flash is always very harsh, and do not use that. And remember, the closer the light is to your subject, the softer the light is and more pleasant, in my opinion. Of course, sometimes you might need a bit harsher light, but usually soft light is more pleasant almost in any image. Then the thing number 9. Some general tips about macro photography. When focusing really close, depth of field is really critical. And then you might want to stop down a bit to get more depth of field. And having a smaller sensor is an advantage in macro photography. And manual focus is recommended. It's usually a lot easier to do in macro photography. Autofocus might not work that good in macro. For manual focusing, Olympus has some really good features in it. You have the focus peaking and you have the magnification. And I have a video about both of those. You can watch them from there. And using a focus rail is also a wise thing to do. It makes it a lot easier for you to focus. With the focus rail, you can really fine-tune your position of the camera. The way it goes, you set the closest focusing distance you can get from your lens, and then with the focus rail, you will move the camera so that the image will be pin sharp at the place you want it to be. It makes macro photography a lot easier using the focus rail. As you saw, there are a lot of different ways to do macro photography. Remember that you can start with your existing lenses to do some close-ups. And if you start liking it and think that actually this is real fun and I'm quite good at it, then you might start adding up some gear. And this video gave you some ideas and the opportunity, not the opportunities, but the possibilities to choose which gear would be best for you. And the next part of this macro video series will be published in a week. And it's all about getting some ideas what you can do at home. But hey, thanks for watching and bye for now.